Hi, Kyber here, and Happy New Year, January 1st, 2021, and we're talking about the Avatar of Decay in Custom Creatures number 4. So this is our first 4-stage encounter type creature. Evasion rating 14, attack damage D8, ignore the damage resist 1. All that does is increase the evasion rating up to the next stage before you can deal damage. So that's really pointless because all you're doing is adding evasion rating. Dumb idea, my bad. Okay, so mana rating of 13 per turn. And then you have move 12, slither like a snake, and then 3 actions per turn. Okay. Here's the Avatar of Decay's first stage. We have Vine Snare, and it prevents move actions for one character, dealing 1d4 damage with a mana cost of 1. Bog Tidal Wave, which moves all characters either closer to or further away from the Avatar by 1d4 spaces, and then it deals 1d8 damage to all that are hit by the tidal wave. So if you're flying or floating above the wave, you're not necessarily affected. I mean, this is a GM ruling, right? Everything is supposed to be a GM ruling, what makes sense for the moment. And then you have Champion of Rot, and then you target one minion, and that minion gains, their attack changes to D8 plus D12. So you have a range of 2 to 20 then for the damage. And not only that, their move rating becomes 8. They are a Champion of Rot. Okay, Avatar of Decay Stage 2. You can summon one Swamp Zombie for a cost of 1 mana. Fungal Wings. This is an automatic in my case, but you might not want it to be an automatic thing. But the movement type becomes float. So basically, you're flying. But if you stop moving, that doesn't stop you from falling to the ground, which is why we're referring to it as float. The move rating becomes 16. So, bam, it's way faster and more agile. Mana cost of 12. So, if this is an auto thing, if you choose to make it an auto thing, then that means this is the first thing it does, and it's got two actions left in its turn, but it can't use any of the other abilities. For its third ability, it's Swamp Fire. And Swamp Fire creates a cone of fire, 3 spaces large, at the end of a 3 space. So basically, there's 1 space, 1, and then a half on either side. So they get a possibility of being hit like on the second space, unless they're in the very middle. And then on the third space, it's that entire area for 3. And then 1d12 damage. That costs 6 mana plus 1 life box. Okay. Stage 3. 2 actions per turn, so it decreases its number of actions per turn and it becomes immobile. And then there's an automatic feature that takes place, and it is the first action, and it costs 13 mana. So it literally takes all of the mana away from the creature on its first turn. And that's called Husk Hibernation. And it heals 1 life box per turn. Now, I would say it's on its turn, not every turn, but, you know, when, just in case you're not familiar, like, it has its own turns. You know what I mean? So, that doesn't mean every time a character gets a turn it heals. Don't do that. That would be painful. Okay. Then we have Spoils of War. This is only usable if no minions currently exist. You create 1d4 Mudmen, and one of which is a Champion of Rot. Mana cost 8. And remember, the Mudmen mimics, they look very similar to the player characters, because they kind of form as a false sentiment of life, like a cruel, twisted vision of it. This enables you to quickly read the effect so you can add the narrative. That's the tool here, okay? And then Imbue Sporling. The Husk calls a Champion of Rot to receive an Avatar of Decay Sporling. It must be stopped in 6 turns. Mana cost of 6. And the reason why I say that is because if you make it to stage 3, you've already killed off two of its stages. And so it's trying to preserve itself, right? So if you do not stop it from running off with this thing in 6 turns, there's another threat out there. That is what elevates the Avatar of Decay. Because remember back when we had our Bog Witch of Desecration? When we had that Bog Witch, she was imbued with this thing. Similar to Alien. It is a persistent threat. That is why you must stop this. And the players, when you give them that narrative, they understand. Don't tell them it takes 6 turns. But just, you notice this thing that resembles the original form, only smaller, being inserted into the Mud Champion of Rot. Or even the skeletal version, if there's still one, like, looming around. So Imbue Sporling is essential to what makes the Avatar of Decay a threat. It has 4 stages of life. You do not want another one of these things running around. Then, the Avatar of Decay enters stage 4. In stage 4, it is still a noble, but it is up to 3 actions per turn. And it can summon 3 swamp zombies for a mana cost of 3. So, because you're not risking anything, you have a guarantee, it's slightly more expensive. Because it's 60% of the potential. But there's no drawback. 1 Mudman, summoning 1 Mudman Mimic, cost 2 mana. Sacrifice a minion, just like the Bog Witch, that restores 1 life box, costs 3 mana. That's the same ability. And you gotta remember, the reason why I gave this that ability is because you have 3 actions. You can summon 6 swamp zombies, or 3 swamp zombies and a Mudman, and then have it kill off one of the swamp zombies and heal. So you have a way of generating life, basically, and that's super important to me, because how many times have you been playing any game where the boss just takes damage? That's its entire job. Take damage, deal damage. Take damage, deal damage. But it's a boss. It should be in charge. And that is highly important to this. The threat of it is that it can do this. The Necromancer from Diablo 2 was a big influence on this. And so it was a black, blue, and even sort of green combination for Magic the Gathering, because you don't have enough ebb and flow to most fights, and keeping track of that stuff is relatively difficult at times. And then we have Nausea Gas for mana cost of 6, and it forces one round all the player characters have disadvantage. So imagine this: I summon 6 swamp zombies, and then I Nausea Gas. You're dealing with a bad situation then. And then you have Fly Trap. And Fly Trap, it's a narrative option. You know what it is, because if a player character is too close to this immobile boss, it's like I got this idea because if you've ever made it to the last boss in Final Fantasy VI, like it's this awesome pillar thing, you know, and there's like these faces on it. One of them's a tiger, and just I thought, wouldn't that be cool if like that thing tried to eat you like a zone eater? And that's where I came up with that idea. Mana cost of 7 for Fly Trap, and it just says attempts to eat player character within reach. So that is the Avatar of Decay, all 4 stages. Once again, there it is. And you notice there's a third of its life gone, there's half of its life gone, there's 2/3 of its life gone. That's why I broke it down like that, because the first section of the boss needs to be imposing. The second one needs to show development. The third one shows where they're going from this point of power looking down to, okay, this is a threat. And then the final form is just vengeance. So it goes from this awe-inspiring challenge to taking you more seriously, and then at the end of it, there's that period of like, no, I'm not gonna just die. I will attack. And then at the end, it's just a grudge match, and you want to simulate that. Because it's no longer fighting for survival, because it can't in stage 4. Well, I mean, kind of. It can heal, and it can do a pretty good job. You can raise 3 swamp zombies and heal 2 life boxes, like instantly. And that's pretty cool. Well, I mean, only one of the swamp zombies is left, but stage 1, Vine Snare, Bog Tidal Wave, and Champion of Rot. Stage 2, summon a swamp zombie, fungal wings, and swamp fire. Stage 3, Husk Hibernation, Spoils of War, and Imbue Spoiling. Stage 4, summon 3 swamp zombies, summon a Mudman Mimic, Sacrifice Minion, Nausea Gas, and Fly Trap. The Avatar of Decay took me about 2 hours to come up with. More like 3 hours. I was really trying to figure out how to make this thing imposing, threatening, and like a final end of an arc boss fight. Because I think that's what players want. They want this feeling of accomplishment, and they want the threat of knowing that this thing could persist. Alright, so that's my video on the Avatar of Decay. There will be more. And I'm changing up the theme this time. I'm not sure what it's going to be. Please leave comments, sort of ideas you guys would like to see. But the Avatar of Decay is like a capstone boss for a segment. I think I'm going to do about 4 videos, 2 boss types, and some minion style creatures, because I like this format. I might do some more, not necessarily minions, but like some join bosses where you can keep track of 2 enemies at the same time that have where they just work together. They synchronize really well. Alright, that's been over 16 minutes now. Alright, Kyburn1 out. Like, subscribe. Please leave some comments. Tell me what you want to see. Alright, Kyburn1 out.